I'm Katie Souza. I'm with Expected in Ministries, and I want to tell you an exciting testimony that's been happening to this ministry. About a year ago, the Lord spoke to me a promise from Deuteronomy 1:11, which says this: "May the Lord, the God of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and blessed you as He has promised you." When I first heard that promise from God, I almost didn't believe it. I thought, gee, Lord, I've heard of the 7, 10, 100-fold, but 1,000-fold blessing, it was almost too big for me to really comprehend. So I began to ask Him to confirm it to me, that He was indeed going to bring us the 1,000-fold return. And sure enough, God began to bring confirmation after confirmation. I'd be walking through my house and suddenly look at the clock for no reason, and it would be 1:11. I would be cooking something in the microwave, and I'd look up right when there was 1 minute and 11 seconds left. I'd be sitting in my car listening to music driving, and suddenly look down at my CD player right when it was on track 1, 11 seconds in. 1:11 everywhere I went. Then I remember one night I was thinking, gee, God, I really think you're serious about this blessing, but just prove it to me one more time. Tonight, wake me up right at 1:11. Then I fell asleep. That night, I woke up and I was on my left side. As I turned around to switch to my right side, I just happened to glaze by the clock and it said 1:11. I almost forgot I asked. I was like, wow, there it is, God. You woke me up at 1:11. Then I can remember shortly after that, I had a dream. I had a dream that God came and He handed me His cell phone. And He said He wanted me to program my number into it so He could call me to give me a blessing. So I began to put my number in. I put 1 and then I put the area code 623. And then suddenly God took the phone away from me. And in my dream, I remember going, no, God, wait, I haven't put my whole number in. And then I woke up. When I woke up, I said, what happened, Father? I didn't get to put all my number in so you could call me with the blessing. He said, add up what you did put in. I said, okay. I put in a 1, then I put in a 6 and a 2 and a 3. What's 6 plus 2 plus 3? It's 11. I programmed 1:11 into God's cell phone. Then shortly after that, I went to a conference, and a friend of mine, Patricia King, was speaking on Deuteronomy 1:11. I was so excited because I was like, wow, God's giving it to the body of Christ as a whole. And as she began to preach, my faith was reaching new levels. And I was sitting there listening to her with anticipation, and I had my cell phone in my hand. Suddenly, it started freaking out. I looked down and I noticed an icon I'd never seen before. It was my email icon, and what had happened was my phone started freaking out because my email service to my phone had quit and it had gotten stuck. I had gotten stuck at 111 emails. I went home and told my husband about it, and he was totally amazed. And then like another month later, I went to another conference, and again, they were speaking on Deuteronomy 1:11. And again, I'm sitting there totally excited, holding my cell phone and listening to the message. And again, my phone started freaking out. When I looked, my email service had shut down a second time, and again, it was frozen at 111 emails. It was at that point that I knew God was so serious about giving us this blessing. I remember I went home that night and told my husband what had happened, and then I went inside my bedroom to watch a movie. I stuck a DVD into my DVD player, and it played for just a little while, and then it got stuck. I remember I took the remote and I was going, play, stop, rewind, pause, play, and it wouldn't move anywhere. It was completely stuck. I even tried to hit the eject button and the power button, and nothing happened. I finally thought to myself, wow, I'm going to have to go and unplug that machine to get it to reboot. So I got up, went over to the machine, and as I reached behind it to pull out the plug, I looked down at the display screen. The DVD player had gotten stuck at track 1, 11 seconds in. Right then, the Lord began to actually release that word in its fulfillment, and we began to have manifestations of financial miracles in our own personal life and in the life of this ministry. We had a $21,000 miracle, then we had a $60,000 miracle, and an $80,000 miracle, then a $32,000 miracle. Then we had a $250,000 miracle that happened personally in our lives. Then there was a month that came And we had a rented place that the ministry used as an office. And suddenly we got a notice. The man who had been renting to us had been taking our monthly mortgage payment and our monthly rent payment and not using it to pay the mortgage. So he allowed the building we were using to go into foreclosure. When that happened, we were like, oh my goodness, now we have to move. What do we do, Lord? And I began to go before the Lord and say, you said we had the Deuteronomy 1:11 thousandfold blessing. I need a miracle now. And I began to fervently pray in that blessing. And the Lord spoke to me. He said, next week, you're going to have it. So the next week came and it was Wednesday and I was like, okay, Lord, it's Wednesday. I really need that blessing. Where is it? And he showed me a vision of two hands reaching into me with their palms up, and on the tips of the fingers was black oil. I said, what's that, Lord? He said, you've struck oil. It's right at your fingertips. So Friday came and there was no call, no nothing. By noontime, I'm going, Lord, you said we'd have the blessing. It's right at our fingertips. I need it. What's going on? And he said nothing. But sure enough, just a few hours later, I got a phone call. So a family from another country had come into the town where our offices are located. And they were looking to buy a house for themselves. They had looked all week and they couldn't find anything. And the wife of this family was speaking to the Lord and she said, Father, I don't understand. You sent me all the way down here to buy a house and I wasn't able to find anything. And the Lord said this to her, I did not send you here to buy a house for yourself. I sent you here to buy a house for Expected End Ministries. That family gave this ministry a $100,000 blessing that the ministry is going to use for our new program that we're developing for people who come out of prison. We're going to disciple them according to the teachings that are in my book, The Captivity Series, The Key to Your Expected